All right, welcome to AP Computer Science. We're going to be learning the basics of Java. That's the language that we're using. And A+ Computer Science is the name of some of the worksheets that we have purchased as a school, almost like a textbook. They give some slides and things like that. Why Java? Well, why not? Java is widely used in software development. It's also a strongly typed language. So strongly typed means data types need to be known. That means if you're creating a program, you have to know if you're going to input a number or a word. You can't just input anything and have it deal with whatever you type in. Some programs are like that. Java is not. It's like bowling. Fun for the whole family. Okay, why Java? Java is a very popular language. It's used in a lot of places. Lots and lots and lots of jobs using Java, but also just if you know how to program. Knowing how to program is important. You can probably get a job almost out of high school if you know how to program. Look, I'm drawing. Here we go. Why program? Well, learning program is very important, as everything we use has some code in it, and it's going to be, well, it's out there, and everything has programs in it, so no matter what job you have, you're probably going to know how to program, or it's going to make your life easier. Yeah, and it'll help. Programming is just fundamental in almost all fields. All right, so this is a simple class. So Java is, the essence of Java is all classes. Now, a class isn't like, you're in a class like computer science or math or English. Class is just a bunch of code that all has a similar goal. Okay, so one class may calculate grades, one class may, I don't know, run your microwave. So each class has their own category. Okay, to begin with, though, we're just learning the basics. So every program that you start in is going to look like this. Okay, so you're going to write the word public, class. Now the word public, you may see in some programs they leave it out. Kind of isn't necessary, but we like to just make sure you understand that there's a difference between public and private. So all your classes need to be public. This right here, woo, that's right, I just did that. That right there is what you can change. So you need to write the word public, class, but this right here, you are going to give any name. Okay? And all of them start with a class. Okay? But generally, and not generally, as a style, we need to start with a capital letter. Very few things start with capital letters in Java. As a style, I'm going to require that you start classes with the capital letters, and almost nothing else starts with a capital letter. Almost. There's a couple things. Okay? A simple class plus the main. So when the beginning programs that you're going to be writing, this is the most basic thing that they're going to have. You have your public class this, and then you have public, static, void, main, string, args. So this right here, let's do this. Sorry, it's hard to draw a straight line. That right there, every single time you need it. Okay? There are some times where some classes don't have them, but for the first few weeks or so, just get used to writing public, static, void, main. This is where the program begins. Every program needs to have this. Now, every program might be multiple classes, so not every class has it, but every program has it, okay? So every program starts with main, okay? You need to have that main in order for any program to run. The compiler, who changes this so a computer can read it, looks for the main in order to run. So you have to start it with main. Okay, we have syntax rules. After every class and every method, which is what we have here, we should have an open and a closing braces. So you got to have them. Every class and every method must have an open and a close. There are times when you only have one line of code for them, but it's so rare that it's best to just have an open and a close. Okay. And you must put a semicolon at the end of all program statements. Okay. So these two are not program statement. This is a statement, system.out.println. You need a semicolon after it. And it basically just says, I go to the next one, never put a semicolon before a brace. So if we look back here, this one had a brace. So that's why I wouldn't have a semicolon here. This one has a brace. That's why I wouldn't put the semicolon here. Okay. This is a closing brace. So that's inconsequential, so we need to have a semicolon at the end of that statement. Okay, we'll get more into that, the things that come up. Okay. Indentation, again, indentation isn't important for the program to run, but we need to have indentation. If you want me to be able to look at your code and be able to determine if what's wrong with it, I need you to indent it properly. So all that means is after every curly bracket, we're going to indent a few spaces. Now, most programming languages do that for you, like compilers, like the BlueJ that we're going to use, or whatever compiler you use will probably do that for you. But you can undo it, so try not to. Okay. So let's look at a program. So this is BlueJ. We'll be using this in class for the most part. And we'll go over how to do it. Okay, so to begin with, this is just a basic program. This is a program called A+ Computer Science. Let's see. Whatever, I'll make it bigger later. Okay, so you notice we have our A+ public class A+ Computer Science. You have public static void main, and then you have a system out. Now, I use the word compile. So when we compile this, what it does is it takes this code and transfers it to something the computer can understand. It literally reads every letter and says, okay, I got to this. What does that mean? What does that mean I have to do? So it's very important that you write things correctly for them to work. You can see here, once this is clear like this, it means it's compiled and ready to run. If it's like with slashes, like stripes, this needs to be compiled, and this means that there are errors. Okay, so if I run this, okay, so what I just did to run it, I'll go over this in class and stuff, but you right click on it, go to the main, because remember the main is where the program begins, so you can do whatever you want, but you need to do the main. Okay, and then you run it, and it says A+ comp sci. Okay, so that's just a basic program. So memorize these parts of the program, these few lines of code, and you'll have the start of the fun that you're going to have in this class. Okay, so basic output. So in order to output anything, you've already seen it, the system.out. I wrote system.out.println or system.out.print. And these are the basic methods that we use. So print X stays on the current line. With the print with the ln, moves it to the next line, meaning at the very end it moves it to the line. And then this prints according to specification. And all that means is if we have to like make it so that we want our output to only have 2 decimal places or things like that, or we can do cool things with it, but we'll get to that. Okay, so system.out.print. This is should be pointed at, this is a PDF, it's not a notebook file, so this should be actually pointing here. Oop. At the out. I'm working well here. I can't get to my undo thing. So this should be pointing at the out, and this should be pointing at the print. The method is print, and this is called a string literal. If it's in quotes here, 1, 2, these quotes, it's called a string literal, and everything inside it will be output exactly the way it's written. Okay, so that the output for this is A+ comp sci. So if I did this, two prints, print, they would both be on the same line because print keeps it on the same line. Print ln takes it and moves it to the next line. Now, with one thing, you can't really tell the difference. But with two, if we do the same thing we did on the other one where we put print ln instead, at the end of this line, the ln says move to the next line. Okay, so this says here, at the end, move to next line. So anytime you write you have a print ln at the end of the code, it's going to move to the next line. And then the next line of code will be like you hit return or enter. So basic Java, we can show you some programs. So this is the basic. Okay, so it has different examples. So you can see these are the exact examples that were there. These two should be on the same line. This one, it doesn't really matter. And then these two are going to be on different lines. Those are the two that you really want you to look at. Okay, so let's look here. What happened? So A plus comp sci was here. This print ln moved it to the next line. These two were written right next to each other with just prints, so that's why they're on the same line. This print ln just gives us, so that the next line of code is next. Okay, so this is A plus comp sci, that's right here. Move to the next line. So this print ln moves it down, and then this print ln moves it down again. Why? That's why there's a space here. And then this print ln moves it to the next line, and we have two on the next line. Pretty exciting. Okay, that's basic Java. Okay, then we have what's called escape sequences for output. Now this is all basic output that we're talking about. Escape sequence just means that we are escaping from normal output. All that means is every time you put a backslash, that's the thing above the enter or above the return, every time you put a backslash, the next thing tells you what the computer is going to do. Now this is all in quotes, so you're in quotes in the string literal that we were talking about before, moves it to the next line in the middle of that. Okay, 2 backslashes let you output 1, and a backslash and a quote outputs a double quote, because the basic idea is if we're here and we have a quote, what if I want to put a quote right here? What if I want a quote there? Because it would look stupid, but what if I want one there? The computer will get confused because it knows quotes are trying to tell it all about a string literal. So we have to have what's called an escape sequence to allow us to output things that are used in the actual program. Okay, so if I do something like this, A plus, and I put a C, well, not the C, I put the backslash and the N, doesn't matter where it is as long as it's in the quotes here. Okay, this quote and this quote. This backslash N will take whatever this is at this moment and hit return or hit enter and move you down. Okay, that's the basic idea. If you want to output a backslash, obviously a backslash is going to have its own issue because it's an escape sequence. So for every 2 backslashes you have, only 1 will be output. Forward slashes don't matter, just backslashes. 2 backslashes give you 1 in the output. Okay, basic Java output. Yeah, so if you want a single quote or a double quote, you have to put a backslash and the quote, and that will allow you to have a quote wherever you want it. Okay, we'll get to that. So there's other ones. There's backslash T, which is a tab, backslash B. These two, doesn't do that much. I don't know why we would use it, but there's other ones, but the first 3 I showed you are the ones that we use most often and are the most useful. These 4 are also nice, okay, that you could use. So the backslash T is the most useful out of those 4. So the backslash T would move you over about 5 spaces. It just helps with some output. Okay. Same basic stuff, just showing you different examples of things. Okay. All right, so we are going to do this part again next. So just watch these. So I hope you enjoyed. Bye.